Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Hello, everybody. We're here.
Hello.
Day after show has returned. Fall tour is here. Goose is playing. It's exciting. Neil, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Just kind of downtown. I'm trying to find a park to sit in while we record today. But yeah, dude, beautiful day in Boston after a pretty awful day of weather yesterday. So pretty stoked.
Yeah, man, and you had a hell of a show last night. We can now say Neil from Always Almost There as seen on TV. Because yes, you were dead center on the rail last night, which was very exciting to watch you. Have the time of your life, and what a spot to have.
Heck of a spot. Interesting how that situation all worked out. I didn't even know I was going to be sitting there until like right before showtime. So yeah, it was awesome and probably the best seats I've ever had for a show. So that was cool.
I don't know if there are better seats than that, like a reserved rail spot right in front of Rick.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose I could have been like 3 more seats to the left, and then I would have been like dead center. But take what you can get.
You know what? I just want to say there were a few moments during the webcast where we were seeing the camera angle from right behind Rick, and Rick was blocking our view of you, which was kind of inconsiderate of him. We were looking for the meal cam, and Rick was in the way, so shame on him. But anyway, we've got some guests today. We're going to talk about last night's show in Boston. We've got 3 guests today. We've got James and Rob, and we've got Mac. How's everybody doing?
What's up? Doing good.
Hey guys.
Everyone feeling great?
Feeling ready for another show tonight.
Amazing. Well, we're gonna dive into a little bit of last night, of course. But let's start with pre-show vibe. Where you guys ended up for the show. Mac, why don't you start us off here?
So I left yesterday around 1:00 from Orono, Maine. I go to University of Maine. I drove down with a friend to BC and then to the show. And we got there like right as it was starting. Mm-hmm. And then we parted our ways. He was with a couple friends and I was meeting some friends from Providence. So it's a good show. Now I'm back down at Providence College in a quad, joining without my bag and laptop and headphones.
Good. The stripped down setup. Exactly.
Yeah.
Better Neil Cam moment from last night. Neil jumping or Neil chugging a beer. What does everyone think? Let us know in the chat which Neil Cam moment is your favorite. I would also like to submit Neil discreetly hitting his vape. Anyway, Mac, where were your seats last night?
I was basically like a little bit right of dead center, like 3 rows from the back. I did hear a lot of people complaining on Twitter after the show about sound quality. Mm-hmm. I feel like kind of towards the back, we had pretty good sound. The bass bombs were booming. Wasn't too bad.
Nice. Well, James and Rob, what about you guys? Where were you guys last night? How are you feeling before the show? Could you guys move a little closer to your mic by any chance?
Oh, it's
headphones. That sounds better.
Okay. We were right next to the soundboard and the lighting rig. In that row. So really cool view. He's kind of got spoiled being front row the last 2 times he's seen that. 3 times if you include Rebelo. But still we got cool visuals, and for us the sound was good.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And Neil, as you said, of course, you were dead center on the rail. But how were you feeling before the show started? What was the vibe like in the venue?
Oh, vibe. Yeah, I didn't really get to do pre-show vibe. I worked until 4, drove home, met my cousin at my house, had the customary pre-show Modelo. So we did that and chatted for a little bit. And then we ate some food really quick and then hopped in the Uber. Got to the venue right as the show was starting, basically.
Oh, wow.
So like no vibes, dude. Like we just straight from Uber to show. And thankfully the line to get in was really fast. I got out of the Uber and I was inside the venue within a minute and a half.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And then we I had to get that beer so I could be caught on TV chugging it, apparently. Yeah, so then we just went right down to the seat. So that's it. That was the vibe report.
That's awesome. I was really excited on the couch last night. Again, we were saying this yesterday. 2 months, and Peter even said 2 months since the last show. Pretty much since the last headlining show. Goose had 2 festival dates after SPAC, but SPAC was the last 2-set Goose show, which is kind of crazy to think about. It's been way too long, but it was really good to have them back. From the first notes of the first set. We start off. Let's talk about these first few songs. Drive, Atlas Dogs, Butterflies. James and Rob, why don't you start this off for us? How are you feeling about these first few songs of the first set?
I was, I'll let him talk in a second. I was very excited because Drive was actually the first song I saw them play live with the Goose tour. And at that point, I was, as the meme goes, not 100% sold. And just as soon as it hit, like, the first one, I was like, hey, I get it now. And I've been hooked ever since. And James, how'd you feel for it?
It was really good. I was partying.
Partying's a good thing to be doing. I love it.
Later
Awesome.
on was his big ones, and we'll get to those.
Yes,
that he freaked
absolutely.
out about.
Mac, take me through. How are you feeling? Drive, Atlas Dogs, Butterflies.
I definitely loved that drive. Me and my buddy on the drive down, he's been to a ton of shows. We're both from Fairfield County, Connecticut, so he's from Norwalk, same place as Goose. He's been to a ton of shows, and he was talking about hearing a drive. So I was super excited to hear that one because we'd been talking about it the whole car ride.
Mm-hmm.
Atlas Dogs and Butterflies are 2 I feel like I don't go back to too much. Butterflies I definitely like to hear. That was one that some of my friends had gotten at a show before, and they liked that one, so it's cool to get one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
The drive into Atlas transition too.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
Great drive
lead there. Yeah. Neil, how are you feeling on the first 3?
Feeling pretty good. I mean, drive opener, right? Like, can't beat that. Yeah, I mean, I like the Butterflies. I think I got a lot of messages during Butterflies
on TV that you really like Butterflies.
I love Butterflies, man.
It's true. It's a great song.
It is a great song. We talk about it all the time. Every time they play it, I kind of say the same thing. But that droning segment is just so awesome.
Yeah.
And, having the seats that I had, I got a real up-close look at Rick kind of doing the Rick thing with the pedals. And that was actually really neat. Because, like, you could see him actually, like, come up with ideas. Like, he doesn't do the same thing every time. He mustn't. Because, like, he was, like, fiddling with a thing, then he was like, ooh. And then, like, did, like, something else and, like flipped a toggle. And, like, yeah, it was pretty cool to watch. So, yeah, all in all, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I really love the drive jam and what they did with it. They kind of came out of the gate. It felt a little faster than normal, and just with so much energy in there. And, they just attacked with the 2-guitar majesty, in this jam. Just, it was dirty. It was grimy. Ben immediately sticking out, showing off, he's just coming off these shows with Humphreys. And he was in fine form last night. Also hometown show for him. So that was cool. But yeah, he was on fire from the first notes of Drive last night. And that was one of my highlights of the night for sure. Solid 15-minute version. And we're seeing it get jammed out again, which is awesome. That came back at Peach after a run of a spring and summer full of no jam drives. Really exciting to see it get a jam again for 2 versions in a row. And so hopefully we continue to see it expand back to its former glory of, March and previously. And then, Atlas Dogs and Butterflies, solid first set fair. I just want to echo again. I absolutely love Butterflies. I don't understand people who don't like that song because it's a great song. Next, we have another big highlight of the show. Time to Flee, Lookout Cleveland. A lot of collab happening in here. very, very pleased about the amount of collab happening in here. Flea Jam opens up. We get a great peak to start out, and then they kind of mellow out and find their way into the Lookout Cleveland Jam, which some might call this an inverted segue, and some might say that I have no idea what I'm talking about when I call it an inverted segue. But it was cool that they did the jam, and then it seemed that they were kind of like, but let's do the song now, and so it was cool how they pivoted. And we'd like to shout out the clam tweet in Lookout Cleveland. Neil, can you give us a little bit of a background on clam tweet?
Yeah, I was anticipating the collab tweet. And I was really trying hard to not have my phone out last night, but I was getting like thousands of notifications. And then, so yeah, I took it out and I did the clam tweet because at the exact moment the collab thing happened, the collab jam began in Lookout Cleveland, the smell of fried clams just filled the venue, which is like bananas. But like, I don't know if you guys experienced this, Mac and James and Rob, but I mean, straight like fried clams, like somebody was just making them right in the middle of the stage. So yeah, I tweeted clam tweet. And it was a hit, apparently, a viral hit.
I mean, it was because we didn't have the context on the couch. We didn't have the context of the clam smell. And so we just, assumed this was normal Neil at a show fare. Mac, how are you feeling about Flea Cleveland?
I definitely loved that jam, what you were saying, how they kind of did the jam and then the song in the Lookout Cleveland. I thought that was really cool because I feel like I'm always thinking during a longer jam that they're bringing it into something else, and I just kept thinking, oh, what are they doing? And then they just go into Lookout Cleveland. I thought that was awesome. That was a cool one to get. But with the clam smell, I during set break walked over to the bathrooms, and as I get to the bathrooms, I get hit with the fried clam smell, if that's what that was. And I thought that was weird to be near the bathrooms at like a concert venue, and it smells pretty good.
That's amazing.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I love it.
All I could smell back there, I don't know if it's because I was close to the food, but back row, I was catching clam whiffs back there.
there were clams in the air last night in Boston. James and Rob, how are you guys feeling about Time to Flee Lookout Cleveland?
I was super excited for Time to Flee. I really like that song.
For those songs the kids can break quick, so both him and his sister. That song, so that was cool. We hadn't seen it yet, so.
Oh, that's exciting.
That was fun. And I mean, we kind of were expecting Lookout Cleveland because they sound checked it yesterday, but still awesome to see. And in the background, we're hearing noodling on sound check, but no actual song yet.
Ooh, love a good jam for sound check. That's very exciting. The fried clam smell was Fryolator grease. Yankees Lobster Company back door was open.
I have lived in New England my whole entire life. I know what fried clams smell like. That wasn't just a stinky Fryolator. Fried clams.
There's legal test kitchen right down the street.
Yeah. And we have a question from Jason here in the chat. Go alone or not go at all tonight? Poll, please. Definitely go alone. You will meet people. You will have the best time. Do not skip a show just because you're by yourself.
Come and see me at the show. Come find me, and we'll hang out. So you won't be alone. You can at least come and say hi.
Vickers shirt.
Yep. There we go.
There we go. All right. And we close out the first set here with Danger Zone, Jive Lee. I wanna let James and Rob go first on this one because I know you guys were very excited about the Danger Zone.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I think 80s, analog and stuff would actually hit you really emotionally. It's my father's favorite song, and he passed away when James was 7 weeks old. So like a lot of the times going to school, that's like I try to play different songs to get them excited for the day of school. Sometimes James is not excited about school, and that's one of the songs that we play a lot. And I always think that would make my dad real happy. And the coolest part for me of all of it was they sound checked it yesterday, and I was having a conversation with a couple of people, and he noticed first and grabbed me. It's like, Dad, they're playing Danger Zone. And the fact that he picked it up faster than me made me so happy. And, I got a little emotional in there. But we kind of posted a video on because, I see the Ryan videos of being super happy shows. That was how we felt, that happy. And, little guy's 11 years old. So I want, when he's 20 something to be able to look back at that video and see him and his dad that happy.
That's amazing. Awesome story. James, how excited were you about Danger Zone?
We're so excited.
Awesome.
Like my dad said, how I just picked it up off the bat.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
any thoughts on Jive Lee as well, or were you just still like on the floor, about Danger Zone?
Danger Zone.
Yeah.
That was the that was the thing
Bradley
for a
was
little
awesome.
while.
Great, musically it was a quick
Great.
Danger Zone, like less than 6 minutes. But still, if you see me ever post on Goose, if anyone ever posts like, hey, what's the greatest cover song? Or hey, what do you think they're gonna play tonight? I always use the Archer. What? Danger Zone.
Nice.
Over and over and over. So, and then it's not like it's a frequently played cover. So, I wasn't expecting to ever see
Right.
it. And I even said yesterday, someone posted, what song do you think they're going to play? And I said, I'm going to play it easy and say Thatch. But I want Danger Zone.
And there you go. Awesome.
You can get
Awesome.
Thatch and got Danger Zone. Tonight will probably be Thatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Mac, what you got? Danger Zone, Jive Lee to close out set one.
That's definitely cool to get that. That it was a more meaningful song for you guys, James and Rob. But I was with a couple friends and we just heard the intro playing and we were all almost kind of in disbelief. So I feel like that's kind of a rare cover to get.
Yeah.
But I don't know, we were like, are they playing Danger Zone right now? I feel like that was definitely one of the highlights of the night. You could tell from kind of the vibes in the room. Everybody was taking their phones out and yelling and whatnot. But I was more excited for the Jive Lee, though. I feel like my favorite Goose songs, I'm always rotating Fish, Goose, Grateful Dead. I feel like I just go through my switches, but then switch through my favorite songs for each of those. And Jive Lee and SOS have been two of my favorites lately. So Jive Lee was awesome to get, and that was a super cool jam too.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I heard the intro of that start playing, I was jumping up and down. I was excited.
Amazing. Neil.
Yes.
Danger Lee.
Yeah. Well, I never talked about Lookout Cleveland, but
We talked about the clams. Isn't that all that happened?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess, but what I was surprised by about Lookout Cleveland was the runtime on it was far shorter than it actually seemed to me in the moment. And the reason why I'm bringing that up now is, additionally, like Jive Lee felt like it was longer than it was. But cool segment of the show. I think this is probably the point at which you caught me chugging a beer. I took Danger Zone off, man. I had been dancing pretty hard through the jams, and I'm glad I kind of took Danger Zone off, because then that Jive Lee hit, kind of went bananas in that Jive Lee. Really kind of weird setlist structure this whole way through.
Yeah.
And that was cool to have that topper on the set. Yeah, dude, Jive Lee,
Yeah.
It's great.
And before we move on to set two, yes, I do want to shout out Haps Jr., who picked Danger Zone for 7 on Fantasy Goose yesterday for 4. Nicely done, James. But yeah, anyone going big on Danger Zone at in the morning before there's any chance of any sort of sound check leak, pretty impressive. So the youngins did well on Danger Zone, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
So
yeah, luck
congrats,
favors the
guys,
bold,
for
they
that.
said. one more thought on Danger Zone. Actually,
Yeah.
Friend of the pod, David, who's a great guy, sees a lot of Goose shows. You can
Yes.
always find him in the back dancing
With Corey.
with Corey. And he was saying that from that segment on, that was probably the loudest crowd he had heard. He was saying that to me last night. And I didn't hear it because of where I was. I couldn't hear anything but, what was coming off the stage. But that was pretty interesting that he would say that it was that loud. Because, I mean, he's seen a lot of Goose shows.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting perspective there.
Pretty cool. All right. Quick set break report here. Start with you, Mac. How are you feeling at set break? What was the vibe like?
I think my partying was definitely catching up with me. As I said before, I went over to the bathroom and I was catching those clam whiffs. And I don't know. The one thing that I thought was a little weird, maybe it's just the fan base, but the women's bathroom line was non-existent and the men's bathroom line was probably like 50 people long. So I was waiting in line for a while, just waiting to get back. I don't know. I needed to sit down. I feel like that's the case with me for like every show at set break. My back is always hurting in my legs, but I was just standing in that line waiting to sit down. But not too much happened at set break, just bathroom, back to the seats.
Nice. Feeling good. Yeah, that's interesting. SPAC is the only show I think I've been to where there was a really long line at the women's bathroom and no line at the men's bathroom, which was so weird to me, but I was happy about it. James and Rob, how are you guys feeling at set break?
Good.
Just stay in our seats.
Those are very, very cool t-shirts, I have to say. For anyone who can't see, if you've seen the Fish Destroys America Fall 97 logo, it's that, but it's Peter, and it's Boston, September 13th and 14th. So,
and the funny thing is with this, like, my friend who drew it, he literally didn't change the hair. All he did was just change the eyes a little bit, add a mustache, and add glasses, and nothing else changed. And he flipped it around, so like, it's not us completely.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's funny. Like if you take the original and lay it over, it's the exact same hair.
It's great.
But
Awesome.
Perfect.
Awesome.
But it was funny what you guys saying about the bathroom line in Lowell. Like, his first show, he and I were joking. Everyone thinks with his hair that he's a girl all the time. And I was like, you should just take advantage of that. You just right in the bathroom.
Skip the line.
Yeah, he would just get him right in there. Because literally everyone was like, oh, he looks so happy.
Yeah. All right. Well, Neil, how were you feeling at set break? You know, you kind of talked a little bit about your late first set feeling, but
yeah, set break was cool. I found John and Paige Caruso.
Nice. Shout out to them. Good friends of the pod.
Awesome. And Rick Gallego.
Shout out to Rick.
Good guy. And so talked to them for a little while. Found my cousin who was sitting in a different section than I was. And then, I don't know, set break felt short. Like, I just had like one brief conversation, hit the bathroom, and then next thing I know, the house lights were going off.
Well, I mean, the bathroom can take half an hour. It
wasn't that bad for me. I don't know. Maybe it was just the side of the venue I was on.
Did you get the clams when you went to the bathroom?
No. Nope. It was just during Lookout Cleveland.
Interesting. So I'm wondering if you and Mac maybe went to different bathrooms. You know, maybe the clam smell was localized in different parts of the venue at set break. This is now a clam podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and we're talking about bathrooms and clams.
No, baby.
Oh yeah, we are. We're talking about bathrooms. Okay. Well, listen, you brought it up. Let's dive into set 2 here. Let's start off first 3 songs: Rockdale, Butter Rum, Jive 2. On paper, this feels a little first setty, and I think I felt that way kind of in the moment. Rockdale, pretty standard. Rockdale, lots of fun. Get the energy going for the second set. Rum got going quickly. You know, my mom said to me, we were watching the webcast, and my mom goes, yeah, they had to take this back from Joey Fatone. You know, it's not his song. But it is at this point in the show where I would like to offer my main criticism of Neil last night, which is he did not start a conga line. But I will say one of the best Goose Twitter moments ever was all the conga line related tweets and messages that happened during Rum last night. Shout out to Vickers, obviously. We blame him, but it was funny. But amazing Rum. Peter showing off his new variable voice control vintage vibe. If anyone may have noticed, he had a new slider on the keyboard that is similar to what Joel Cummins from Humphreys McGee got on his new vintage vibe. It allows you to move where the pickup is in the keyboard, and that changes the sound. Also, there's definitely a new delay pedal happening based on what happened in this Rum, because that was sick. And shout out to Getty during this Rum, because from the couch, it just looked absolutely phenomenal. What was going on? Just amazing.
I want to point out that when you said if anyone noticed, I assure you, you're the only one who noticed.
That's what I do.
But that is cool. Didn't see it from where I was, but I had a pretty good view of the vintage vibe, but didn't see that. So glad you pointed it out.
There you go. And Jive 2 was interesting as well. Aside from the placement of the song being weird, it was cool. First of all, Peter didn't take any organ solo at all. He just stuck to the clav for a while. And then Rick took a solo in that kind of middle section, which was abnormal. I don't think they've ever done that before. And then they really took their time on the outro, which was just excellent.
That was awesome. The switch over from the clav to the Rick solo, like you could see them looking at each other, and they were giving them each other cues with their eyes, and they handed off so perfectly at that point. That was one of the coolest things of the show for me.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed that Jive too. Killer.
Mm-hmm. Mac, first 3 songs of the second set. How are you feeling about it? You are on mute.
So you had mentioned the slide adjuster that Peter picked up. I caught a J-Rad show at Westville the beginning of this summer. So that was super cool to see that, because during that show, all I could notice was Joel playing with the adjuster thing. So I thought that was cool when you tweeted that. See, Peter had gotten one.
Marco, you mean?
Or yeah, Marco.
He's got a Rhodes, not a vintage vibe, but I won't get into the minutia of keyboard rigs here.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool to hear.
I'm not the best at catching them, but I heard some Rockdale clavs. That was a cool Rockdale. Another one that I don't go back to a ton, but that was cool to hear that live. And then the Butter Rum, that was one of my favorite songs. I only really got into Goose last December. A bunch of friends had finally put me on after them going to a ton of shows, which regret not getting into it earlier now. That was only my second show last night. But Butter Rum was one of the songs that got me big into them. I thought it was a really cool jam too. So I feel like the one I go back to a lot is the one from the Cap.
Yeah.
And I feel like that jam almost kind of keeps some essence of Butter Rum alive in it, where it doesn't go into its own kind of jam. So I thought it was cool to get a big jammed out Butter Rum like that. And then Jive 2, that was a really cool one. Pretty euphoric jam. All I could think about was I had some chompers behind me. Some people talking pretty loud during Jive 2 and then the song after, but it wasn't too bad.
Shame on them.
Yeah.
James and Rob, first 3 songs of the second set: Rockdale, Rum, Jive 2. James, are you able to move a little closer? Rob, are you able to move a little closer? I think James's earbud has the microphone.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, that's much better.
Rockdale was another song they played at our first show. We listened to it a lot. That whole show, it really is what got me hooked. So it was awesome to hear that. Again, Butter Rum was cool. Fortunately, no Joey Fatone because NSYNC's reuniting or whatever right now. And just the whole thing was a lot of fun. And good news if anyone's watching live. We might have to move in a second because they're setting up the tables to start moving people in right now. around us.
Ooh, exciting. Awesome. James, how did you feel about the first few of the second set?
Love Butter Rub, love Rockdale. Super excited.
Were you still
Sorry.
partying at this point?
No.
You were still partying at this point, but this was about his first concert ever was here.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the sea air or the open and the
Maybe it's the
lights
clams.
going on the ceiling. He fell asleep his first show, slept during Carini, even as a trade band show here. And last night he was coming close, but I got him back up for encore, and he was good at that point. But then we got in the car and he was out within seconds.
Amazing.
I'm still angry I missed Carini.
Next time. All right. Neil, oh no, you already talked about this. Let's talk about, we'll just go through the whole rest of the show here. We got a nice breather of a Western Sun, followed by SOS, Madhavan, and then a Dawncore, if you will. Only the second time ever that they have split up SOS into its two parts. And I say that with quotes because no, they should not be noted separately every time the song is played, only when they are separate. I will not be taking more questions about this at this time. But Western Sun, always a great breather. I feel like we were looking for a jammed out version here at this point in the set, given the kind of shorter songs to start it off. And we haven't had a jammed out version in just over a year. The last jammed Western Sun was in Dillon last year. So it's been far too long since the last jammed Western Sun. SOS, 3 minutes of SOS. It was great. And then Madhavan came, was amazing. Really cool couple minutes of textures. And this is another vintage vibe highlight. That new tone, that whatever capabilities he's unlocked with that variable voice control is just absolutely amazing on full display here through an amazing Bliss jam. And then, Dawncore, amazing way to close out the show. But James and Rob, let's throw it back to you guys. How did you feel through the rest of the second set and the encore here?
This one was another one that really touched me. It's just kind of like, said to him, I'm like, I know this is a band you're going to be listening to for years. Go everywhere. That's a yearbook quote lined up for you right there. And I was like, and that's, advice as a dad that I should give you. Like, maybe when I was younger, I didn't travel as much as I should have. I didn't go around and do as much as I should because I was worried about, not being around my family. So I told him, hey, go everywhere, feel everything. That made me really happy. Mm-hmm. And then everything else was awesome. Like, Madhavan getting really at the time. And then the encore was really cool. And, I have a friend who I'm trying to get to go listen to Goose. He hasn't come yet. He might go to Goose with me. I'm trying to, hardcore fish head, trying to sell him. But I told him, I'm like, the encore was kind of like, to explain to you, if Fish played Fluff's Travels just by itself.
Right.
And he's like, oh, all right, that makes sense.
That's kind of that's kind of the parallel I was using to kind of make people understand the situation. But yeah, that's a good one. James, how were you feeling about the rest of the second set and the encore last night?
Sleepy.
I was half asleep.
Okay. It was late.
But I'll give him credit. This is the first time he's seen Goose that he had been following. Like, Taboose was until midnight. Roadrunner was until just about midnight. Levitate was in the middle of the day. But, this is his fifth show today. And the only time that he's got remotely tired since his very first concert, he stayed up till 12:15 at Fish at Madison Square Garden. So
yeah. Well, I hope you make it through the whole thing tonight. I hope you make it through the whole thing tonight.
Yeah, don't watch the lights, kid.
I have to, kind of.
All right,
don't watch
Mac,
above you.
How are you feeling last night? But the rest of the second set, Western Sun, SOS, Madhavan, Dawn.
So I had said I had some chompers during Jive 2 and Western Sun, so that had been on my mind, but I was still enjoying it. It was just that some quieter parts was getting drowned out, but SOS, I said before, that's been one of my favorite songs lately, more specifically the SOS Jam, or the Dawn Jam. So once they dropped into SOS, it kind of cleared from my mind anything I was mad about, the people talking behind me, and I was super into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was waiting for, like, I don't know what it's called, is that the drone sound there where it's like the do-do-do-do-do-do-do? I was waiting for that to come in, and then because that's my favorite part, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, and then I hear them going to Mad Hooven, and I was so mad, but I was like, you can't get mad at a Mad Hooven.
Can't be mad about
So yeah, and then that was a super cool Mad Hooven too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've almost considered Mad Hooven, I don't know why, but I've almost considered it like Goose's Dark Star, how they'll go into a lot of darker jams with it. That's just in my mind how I've always thought of it. So I thought it was cool to get that, and it was a kind of cool darker jam. And then the way they did the encore was super cool too, how they kept the drone sound going, and me and all my friends were looking at each other like, what is going on right now? And but we were waiting and waiting, and my friend who was up a couple rows, we were texting in a Goose group chat we had with some friends, and he was just going drop, drop, drop. And we thought it was going to be an animal, though. Big animal build up. So that was my first show, July 3rd. It was a cool animal build up for that show. But no, it was awesome to get the Dawn Jam. That's like my favorite of any Goose music right now. So I was loving that.
Amazing. Awesome. Neil.
Close
us out here. Take us through the rest of the show.
Sure. Yeah. You know, when they started playing SOS, I was actually like disappointed. And I was like, where are the jams?
Yeah.
You know, and I thought that was it for the show. And I was like, kind of mad. You know, it's like, this is kind of annoying. And like, you know how much I love SOS. It's one of my favorites. Sorry for the beep. There's going to be a loud beep for a minute here. But yeah, so all of a sudden they start playing Madavon. And like my brother and I are looking at each other like, is this really happening? Like, did they just like jump out of SOS and they're like playing Madavon right now? And yeah, sure enough, that's exactly what that was. For a second there, like I thought it was just like kind of like a funny jam. And like I just didn't want to believe that they were actually playing Madavon, even though that's what I knew, that's what I was hearing.
Interesting.
So that was actually really cool. So I enjoyed that. And then that Madavon was neat, had like a really cool turn to like a major key at one point and sounded awesome. I haven't actually gone back to listen to that one yet since last night, but it was definitely really good. The jam highlight of the show, other than like Time to Flee.
We had a good Neil Cam shot right at the peak.
Was I jumping up and down?
You got some air.
I was doing some jumping. Yeah, I got hops, no doubt. So
right, if you will.
So the drone core thing was cool. You know, Peter, everybody's like messing with their pedals, Rick and Peter, and then Peter kind of stays a little extra long messing with his pedal, and like I'm standing like right under him at that point, and I just scream up at him, and I was like, Peter, stop! I can't take it. And I got a laugh out of him, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, so then like, you know, he walked off the stage and did some finger guns. He had a whole thing with finger guns last night. I don't know if you noticed that on the stream.
That happened a lot.
Yeah, it happened in Lee, and then like he just kept doing it throughout the show. And and then the Dawn Encore, which like, hey, if you're gonna split them up, that's the way to do it. You know, killer, so much fun.
100%. Well, that brings us to the close of today's Day After Show episode. I hope all of you guys have a fantastic time back in Boston tonight for night 2. Really, really excited for tomorrow for, you know, my own selfish reasons, because I'm seeing Goose tomorrow at Borderland Festival, which I cannot wait for. You know, I'll be coming to the Day After Show for tonight's show. I'll be coming to you tomorrow live from Borderland, which will be very exciting. But yeah, everyone have a great time tonight, whether you're on the couch, whether you are at the show, and we will see you right back here 3:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Thank you, James. Thank you, Rob. And thank you, Mac, for being here today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you guys. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of Day After Show. Have a phenomenal rest of your day. We'll see you.